Hello everybody, welcome back to my Horus Heresy from the Beginning series. Today we'll be taking a look at weapon types. Today's video will be both 1.0 and 2.0, though there are some differences in rules. They're similar enough to be pointed out instead of its own separate video. Before we jump into different weapon types, it's worth pointing out a few rules that all weapons must pertain to. A lot of weapons in the Age of Darkness have more than one shot to it in a single turn, although they can never be split into multiple targets, even with abilities like Power of the Machine Spirit, which allows vehicles to target multiple different enemies. A single weapon can only target a single unit. Additionally, some weapons have a random number of shots, noted as D6 or D3 shots. When this is the case, roll a dice. The number on the dice is the amount of shots you get, or in the instance of a D3, divide that result in 2, rounding up. Additionally, if a model has more than one ranged weapon, it must choose which one to fire, with the exception of pistols, of which 2 can be fired at once. When shooting with a weapon, you cannot charge unless you use weapons with the assault or pistol type. Additionally, you can only charge units that you shot at. A weapon might have 2 ranges. This is used to specify a minimum range, such as with artillery. The first number is the minimum, and the second number is the maximum. Now, on to weapon types. First, we have rapid-fire weapons. Rapid-fire weapons do not have a specific number attached to their weapon type. Instead, they will always fire one shot. However, whenever a target is within half range of weapons of this type, rapid-fire weapons can fire twice with no penalty. For example, a bolter has a range of 24 inches. It will normally fire a single shot, but whenever a model comes within its 12-inch range, it will fire 2 shots instead. Note that the target model doesn't have to be wholly within 12 inches, and the unit firing rapid-fire weapons may not entirely be within half range, letting some models fire twice and some not. Next, we have assault-type weapons. They will always fire the same amount of shots indicated on its profile, even when the bearer moves. Additionally, it allows the unit bearing them to charge, though as said before, only until a unit is shot at. In a similar vein, we move on to pistol-type weapons. They act like assault weapons, but with a much shorter range. A model with 2 pistols can fire both of them. In 1.0, they used to only have 1 shot, but in 2.0, they're allowed to have more than 1 shot, as with the Volkite Serpenta. Additionally, pistols have a unique property in that they act like a melee weapon for the purposes of counting for an additional melee weapon. If you have a pistol and a melee weapon, you'll gain an additional attack in combat. Now, one of the more interesting, widespread, and challenging weapon type, heavy weapons. Heavy weapons will always fire the full amount. However, if a model with this weapon type moves, the heavy weapon fires snapshots, meaning only hitting on 6s. Additionally, if the heavy weapon has the blast subtype, it cannot be fired if the bearer has moved. On to more vehicle-centric weapons, we have Ordnance weapons. These weapons are so strong that whenever they roll to penetrate a vehicle, they will instead roll 2 dice and pick the highest. However, these weapons require some positioning beforehand, and cannot be shot with if you move to that turn. It also cannot fire snapshots, so if a rule is affecting it that requires it to fire snapshots, it will not be able to fire. If a non-vehicle model fires an ordnance weapon, it cannot shoot any other weapons that turn. Note that a vehicle also can't shoot ordnance weapons if it goes at cruising speed. Bomb-type weapons are a unique weapon, as they're exclusive to flyers. All bombs are one-use weapons, so hit or miss, they won't be able to be used again after dropping them. Interestingly enough, they must also be used in the movement phase. This is done so by doing a bombing run. We'll get to that in just a second. When using bomb-type weapons, you're considered to have fired 1 weapon for all rules that affect that in the ensuing shooting phase. However, you can target a different unit than the one you attacked. Now, how does one perform a bombing run? First, move the model using a bomb weapon. Then, nominate a model that it passed over. Put the appropriate blast marker specified by the weapon over that model. Roll a scatter as normal, the video for which is already up on my channel. But instead of rolling 2d6, in the case that it scatters, you'll only roll a single d6. Then, resolve the effects of the bomb. 1.0, models closest to the blast marker are removed first. In 2.0, they are removed as the defender sees fit. Now we have to move on to edition-specific weapon types. This section will be dedicated to 1.0, so know that this is a clear division in the video. 1.0 has two unique weapon types, salvo and primary weapons. Salvo-type weapons are similar to rapid-fire weapons in that they have multiple attack profiles, but the specifics of salvo weapons are more complex. A salvo weapon will have two numbers. The first will be lower, and the second higher. If a model with a salvo weapon moves, it can fire using the first number of shots, but only at half range. If the model doesn't move, it can fire with the second number, at its whole range. For example, a model with a rotor cannon that has salvo 3-4 and a 30-inch range moves. It can only fire 3 shots, up to 15 inches. But if it doesn't move, it can shoot up to 4 shots and at 30 inches. Do note that the rotor cannon has completely changed in 2.0 and no longer reflects this if you play that edition. The other 1.0 unique weapon is primary weapons. These are typically seen on super heavy tanks and large fortifications. You roll at full effect and full range, and when you roll for armor penetration, you roll 2 dice instead of 1, picking the highest. If you already have a rule that allows you to roll multiple dice, such as with Armor Bane, roll 3 dice and pick the 2 highest. Another clear division in the video, and we go to the 2.0 specific weapons. In 2.0, we have destroyer weapons. A destroyer weapon will make all of its attacks at full range, whether it's moved or not. When it rolls for armor penetration, it will roll 3 dice and discard the lowest. Note the difference from 1.0 in that it will roll 3 dice instead of 2, and keeps 2 of them. Additionally, whenever a vehicle suffers an attack from a weapon with this type, it will take D3 wounds instead of 1. A unit of models that are not vehicles will also take D3 wounds. And that'll be it for today, everyone. I hope this video helps build a foundation for your gaming experiences, and from now on I'll be able to reference this video. Going forward, we're looking at unit types, legions, and going over old videos with the new 2.0 rules. I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and I'll see you again soon.